Most people see Danny DeVito and instantly think of the short, loud guy who made us laugh on screen for decades. But behind his quick wit and funny characters is a life story that's far from easy. It's filled with rejection, pain, resilience, and one decision after another that shaped him into a Hollywood legend. Not because he fit in, but because he refused to. Danny DeVito was born in 1944 in Neptune, New Jersey. His mother, Julia, was already 40 years old when she had him. She openly said she didn't want another child, and for many kids, hearing something like that would be devastating. For Danny, it became fuel. That early sense of not being wanted gave him a quiet fire to prove himself, to show he wasn't a mistake. But home wasn't a safe place either. His father, Daniel Sr., owned a candy store during the day and was a kind, warm man. But once the sun went down and the alcohol came out, he became someone else entirely. Violent, angry, unpredictable. Came to their house 17 times before Danny turned 15. The fear was constant. He learned to read the signs, the sound of a bottle opening or footsteps that didn't sound quite right. He'd hide in closets or run to a neighbor's house just to survive the night. This could have broken him. It could have sent him down a very dark road. But Danny made a decision. He wasn't going to let it define him. Instead, he later created a support program called Little Giants to help kids growing up in similar homes. That program has now helped over 15,000 children. His pain became his purpose. By the age of 14, Danny saw how dangerous his neighborhood really was. Heroin and crime were everywhere. 2 of his close friends died before they were even 16. He knew he had to get out. So he started doing odd jobs, anything, to save a little money. He managed to save $237, a huge amount for a teenager in the 1950s. Then he convinced his parish priest to talk to his parents, asking them to let Danny go to a prep school far from their troubled neighborhood. He picked his timing carefully. He waited until his father was sober and his mother was feeling guilty. Eventually, they said yes. That one decision may have saved his life. Of the 12 friends Danny grew up with, only 3 made it past the age of 25 without ending up in jail or dead. As if that wasn't enough, Danny also had to deal with Fairbanks disease, a rare genetic disorder that stunted his growth. He only reached 4'10" and lived with severe pain in his hips, knees, and back. Through his 20s and 30s, the pain was so bad that he often rated it as 6 to 8 out of 10. But he never took painkillers. He refused. He still did his own stunts and even collapsed several times on set during the filming of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He later quietly donated over $12 million to help others with bone conditions. He never asked for recognition. He just wanted to make life a little easier for people going through what he had survived. Before the world knew him as an actor, Danny actually trained as a beautician. He logged 1,500 hours and graduated second in his class. He worked at his sister Angela's salon, humorously named Curl Up and Dye, and was known for creating the Neptune twist hairstyle. He was talented, charming, and in demand. At first, he got into it thinking it'd be a great way to meet women, but life had other plans. One day, while styling a client's hair, he met her husband, a theater producer. That man casually suggested Danny try out for a play. Danny didn't think much of it, but applied to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, not for acting, but to study makeup. During the interview, they asked him to perform a monologue. He chose a scene from The Rainmaker. Despite having 0 experience, something clicked. They offered him a spot in the acting program. He wasn't sure at first, even returned to the salon. But when they called again, this time offering a partial scholarship, he said yes. That yes changed everything. His early years in New York were brutally hard. He shared a tiny apartment with Michael Douglas, who, at the time, didn't tell anyone. His father was Kirk Douglas. They were broke, living off canned beans and stale bread. They had only $27 between them and used it for headshots. Michael started getting roles. Danny didn't. Between 1967 and 1970, he went to 248 auditions and landed just 3 small jobs. Total earnings? Less than $800. He parked cars, posed as a mannequin in store windows, cleaned cages at the LA Zoo, and even read lines to chimpanzees for research. At one point, he was living in his Volkswagen Beetle, using the YMCA to shower in soup kitchens, to eat. But he didn't give up. Hollywood didn't know what to do with him. He was too short, too loud, too different. Agents and producers suggested he get surgeries to change his face, break and lengthen his legs, basically reshape his body to fit their idea of a star. One studio even offered what would now be nearly $1 million to do it. Danny took the contract to the beach, set it on fire, and walked away. He didn't want to be a second-rate version of someone else. He wanted to be a first-rate version of himself. Just as he was about to quit acting and take a job at the post office, he got a call from his old roommate Michael Douglas, now a producer. They were casting for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and needed someone to play the character Martini. Danny had already played that role on stage, so he knew it inside out. The movie was filmed inside a real mental hospital, using actual patients as extras. Danny's screen time was less than 6 minutes, but he made every second count. The film swept the Oscars, and suddenly, everyone wanted to know who that unforgettable guy was. A few years later, in 1978, he made a bold move. He turned down 3 film roles to audition for a TV sitcom called Taxi. Back then, going from film to television was seen as a huge risk. His agent begged him not to, but Danny felt something special about the character Louis De Palma. During his audition, he gave a 7-minute monologue that left the room silent. The network was hesitant because of his height, but the show's creator, James L. Brooks, said he'd quit if Danny wasn't cast. Danny took the role, even though they paid him 40% less than other actors. The bet paid off. Within 8 episodes, he was a national sensation. He got more than 11,000 fan letters. People couldn't get enough of Louis, the rude, nasty, unapologetic dispatcher. Danny poured all the years of rejection into that performance. By 1980, nearly everyone in America could recognize his voice. His performance won him a Golden Globe in 1980 and an Emmy in 1981. His acceptance speech for the Emmy? Just 12 words, the shortest in history. NBC tried to lure him away with a huge contract, but he stayed loyal to the Taxi cast. That kind of loyalty and integrity became part of his legacy. During this time, Danny also found love in a very unexpected way. Rhea Perlman came over to his apartment to break up with his roommate. Instead, she and Danny ended up talking for 6 hours. He said he knew within 22 minutes that he wanted to marry her. A year later, she joined the Taxi cast, and the chemistry was so strong, producers thought it was just acting. They secretly moved in together after 2 weeks and kept separate dressing rooms on set to avoid drama. In 1983, they started their own production company, Jersey Films, working together late into the night while still filming during the day. They promised to never go more than 2 weeks without doing something creative together. When Taxi ended, many thought Danny would fade away like so many TV stars. Instead, he went on to conquer film. He stole scenes in Terms of Endearment, Romancing the Stone, and The Jewel of the Nile. He took small roles just to stay relevant. In 1986, he played a greedy, awful husband in Ruthless. People and audiences loved it. The film made 10 times its budget and got him another Golden Globe nomination. In 1987, he made his directorial debut with Throw Mama from the Train. It was a tough shoot with lots of stunts and complex scenes, but it was a success. A year later, he teamed up with Arnold Schwarzenegger for Twins. The 2 stars and director took no salary up front, instead agreeing to split 40% of the profits. The film made $216 million. Danny had become a leading man, not because of his looks, but because of his talent and honesty. he kept building his career behind the scenes too. In 1989, he directed The War of the Roses, a dark comedy that became a cultural hit. In 1992, he transformed himself into the Penguin in Batman Returns, spending hours in makeup to deliver a performance that was both gross and heartbreaking. That same year, he directed Hoffa, starring Jack Nicholson. It was a serious, powerful film that showed how far Danny had come, not just as an actor, but as a storyteller. His biggest impact on Hollywood may have come through Jersey Films. He co-founded the company with Michael Shamberg and later Stacey Scherer. They looked for bold scripts no one else would touch. In 1994, they backed a strange, risky movie written by a then-unknown Quentin Tarantino. That film was Pulp Fiction. It became a classic and helped change the way movies were made. Through it all, Danny stayed true to himself. He never changed his look. He never hid his pain. He used his success to lift others up and stayed grounded through love, hard work, and a refusal to sell out. From a scared kid hiding from his father to a Hollywood icon, Danny DeVito built a legacy that's not just about fame, but about character. He showed the world that success doesn't require perfection. It just takes heart, grit, and the courage to be exactly who you are. If you made it this far, let us know your favorite Danny DeVito moment in the comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories like this one.